I will, when he opens the hearing, when he opens the hearing, we can put him right here, but
Yeah, okay.
you can come up and
Yeah.
tell him about it.
Okay, everybody, we're going to call the meeting to order, please. It appears to be 7:05. I will seat Thad for Dan, who is missing this evening, and you're going to be on deck circle for the next time I have to seat somebody. Okay, great. I'm trying to rotate through here. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have an opportunity now, if there's anyone in the audience that would like to bring forward something to the commission that's not already on this evening's agenda, this is your opportunity to do so. All right, appears that there is none. All right, we have this evening, the bulk of the agenda is 3 show cause hearings. Before I open any of them, I'd just like to make a couple of general comments because there are 3 of them, so that I don't need to sort of do this 3 times over. A show cause hearing is the first step in the procedure when a cease and desist order has been put in place, and that comes about when our enforcement agent becomes aware of activities that would appear to violate regulations for the town of Southbury, and so they're halted until a discussion and determination can be made as to how best to move forward. At some point in the procedure, I would expect that all 3 of those properties would have to submit some sort of an application to the commission. What exactly the application would consist of, and what the commission members would be looking forward to have on the plans and so forth will be discussed at the next meeting after we have had site visits at the location for as many members as we can get out there for them to view the properties firsthand, and then we'll have better information to base our discussion on. So this evening we'll open them one at a time, and if you are welcome to come forward if you like to present either verbal information to the commission, or if you have written commission you would like to, or written things you would like to submit for the record, you're welcome to do so. So I will open the show cause hearing for 192 Painter Road. I'm going to ask our enforcement agent to give us a brief synopsis of what she observed down there and instituting the cease and desist order.
Sure. So I was called by a neighbor who observed what appeared to be timber harvesting, many trucks coming out of the site with logging. And they specifically called about the site on 209 Bagley. So I visited the site, and it was obvious that there was mass amounts of cutting through the wetlands and other areas on the property as well. I found the harvester on site, and he was actually at the neighbor's house at 192. And after discussing a little bit with him, apparently he was contracted by each of the 3 neighbors individually to clear the lots. After talking to the owner of Bagley, he said that I guess the harvesting was able to mediate the cost of clearing their lots, so that's why they went in that direction with it. So, I issued the cease and desist for all 3. I hand delivered and viewed all 3 lots, and like I said, the 2 on Painter didn't appear nearly as bad as the one on Bagley, but I don't know how far. It's hard to determine the lot lines. These lots predated wetlands, so there's no wetland markers on the site. You don't know where the lots begin and end. Two of the neighbors that were not involved, I understand, feel like there may have been some clearing on their property as well. Probably accidentally, but the lot lines, aren't very clear. So at least one of those neighbors are here tonight and took some pictures from his property. I contacted the DEP because of the harvesting, and the harvester was not licensed in Connecticut, licensed in Massachusetts, and he had some violations in Massachusetts as well. So the DEP is handling the matter with regard to the harvester being unlicensed and anything that has to do with that. And I believe that the DEP went out to the site on Friday, but he didn't report back to me because he doesn't have to. But I'll touch base and see what's going on with that.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
And that's a similar, that kind of covers all three of the
That's
properties,
that's
really,
a story pretty much for all three.
Okay.
It's hard to break them up.
Is there anyone here from 192 Painter Road? And if you are, do you have anything that you would like to bring forward to the commission this evening?
Sure.
Just come forward in your name for the record, please.
My name is Howard Allen, the
Thank you.
owner of the property at 192 Painter Road. Been a resident in town for 38 years. Just to kind of clarify something, my lot was not up for clearing of the lot. We've heard a lot about a lot of storms and a lot of heavy storms coming, frequencies increasing, that sort of thing. I've been in that lot for 38 years. We got a lot of oaks and large trees, 70, 80 feet tall. And there was an opportunity with the work that my neighbor was doing to have this person also do some work with me. It was definitely not any sort of clearing. I had labeled about 12 to 15 trees that were along my borders that could do damage to either my house, my wife or myself, or the dog when we walk the property. During the winter, we've had a lot of trees down. We've had branches fall. If you look in that lower area down by the brook that's being referenced, you'll see that there's some dead trees there that have died because they couldn't get through the overgrowth to get sun and that sort of thing to grow. So there are a lot of trees that have died over time. And I thought that this was just a good opportunity, as was stated, that being that there was some timber work being done and the logger was taking some of the trees, it would reduce the cost. It's rather expensive to have guys come in and cut large trees of this size, and so I saw this as an opportunity to help reduce the damage or potential harm to my family and my property by taking down some of these trees. Unfortunately, through that process, it's obvious that based on the cease and desist, there's opinions that there are things that were done that weren't appropriate, that wasn't the intention, and we're here to determine what needs to be done so we can fix things and move forward.
Okay,
All right.
thank you very much.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the cease and desist at 192 Painter Road and schedule site visits.
Second.
Any discussion from the commission? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 214 Painter Road, is there any homeowner or anyone here that would like to come forward on that application? I'm sorry, on that show cause hearing?
Yes.
Please come forward and state your name.
James Callahan, 214 Panther Road. Much like Howard was saying, it was more of an opportunity to clear up some of the dead trees that had become present, and also on my property on the upper end, I also had trees marked that I wanted down to mitigate having a couple fall down on my fields, for one, and then also too just to clear up a little bit of the overburden from overgrowth. But there was clearly a miscommunication with the logger as far as how far he went down, and that's the situation we're in now. On my lot, I lose about 3 trees a year on the lower end. However, they are in the wetlands, so there's really nothing I can do about that. I just have to be vigilant to make sure that my wife, my kid, my dog, myself don't get hit by one of them. So that's it's about the same thing. We're just looking
Okay.
to find a resolution to best fit the situation that occurred.
Okay.
You know, and I would ask, are we able to be present at the site visits?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
All right, that would be excellent. Thank you.
Okay, well, they'll notify you. We'll try to get some good times from the commission and see if we can coordinate with you, hopefully,
Yeah, that would be great.
or the other way around.
Yeah.
But yes, you're certainly welcome to be there if we can make it work.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'd like to do that as well.
Yep, everybody will be pre-noticed or whatever. Okay, thank you very much. I'll make a motion to continue the show cause hearing on 214 Painter Road.
I'll second again
Discussion, questions from the commission?
at this point.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 209 Bagley Road, show cause hearing. Is there a representative come forward and state your name, please?
How you doing? My name's Josh Smith at 209. As the others said, I am the gentleman who hired out Stephen Smith. I had heard of him from Massachusetts because of a family. He actually was contracted by my father in Greenfield, Massachusetts, well over a decade ago now. He helped with a very suburban lot, 3 trees. He did a very good job. He climbed them, delimbed them, did the whole process, very clean cut job. This was, like I said, well over a decade ago. So I have only been at 209 Bagley for 2 years now. 2019, my wife and I moved in, and so my father had recommended it to me. I contacted him. I'm the one that brought him in. So I could not speak to his record that it sounds like he has now. I am not aware of those situations. We were looking at what we'd seen in the past, and it was a good situation, and it ended well in Massachusetts at the time. So the only thing I could say was that when I bought the property in 209, I did the GIS records, and I found that there are markings for wetlands and there's markings for farmlands, and there's farmlands all over my property. They're not wetlands. So after the cease and desist was a shock to me. I didn't think I had wetlands to be concerned about. So I had talked it over with Miss Kern at the door, and she had made me aware that these can be very much complete, and she made mention of the brook. And at the time, I did not realize what was around the brook situation. I contacted another local gentleman named Michael Swift, All Things Trees. He is a local company in Southbury, All Things Trees, I believe it's called. Sorry, pal. All About Trees, Mike Swift. Mike did a very good job. He came over, we walked through the property, and he said, yeah, your brooks, he explained to me the situation about a 75-foot perimeter, basically being around the radius, rather, in the direction of the brook. And so I was not aware of that at the time. As you can see from the maps, I don't know if you want to have these on record or not. You can keep them. There's copies from when I printed them off in 2019, and then one from over the weekend to show this. Is that something you'd like to
submit
keep?
them. Yep.
Do you want me to leave these with you?
Yes, if you
Please,
can.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So that's what I had gone off of, and you can see very clearly from the layers that I brought up that there was no distinction of wetlands on there. I did not realize that there's this exception to brooks and on the other side of those. So when I received the letter stating that there was a cease and desist because I didn't have the right permitting, as you can see, I was concerned because I didn't think there was a reason to look for a wetlands permit, seeing as the GIS maps didn't show it. So I now understand what's going on, so I'm just looking for what we need to do to remedy the situation. And we have pieces of these trees all over our property. They have been logged, so there's tops and trees, and there's a lot of cleanup that still needs to be done, and my wife is being very patient with me.
So as far as the GIS thing goes, the information in there is only somewhat complete at best. Older homes
Clear.
like this
Yeah.
subdivision that predate most of the wetlands regulations never had that kind of review, and therefore it couldn't be inputted into the
Sure.
GIS system when they started doing that.
Yeah.
A water course certainly is considered wetlands, but the wetland definition in the state of Connecticut goes by soil type.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you might have a brook flowing through a ravine or whatever,
Yeah.
and there could well be wetland soil types that extend beyond the water course itself. So,
Yeah. As I stated, Mr. Swift made that very clear to me over the
Right,
weekend.
right.
And then I had clearly other things to look for that I hadn't at that point in time. So
okay.
it was not my intention to clear some of those areas closer to the river, just by fact. And so that it goes on the record, the intention is not to clear the lot at all. It's to clear a safe perimeter, and as you'll see, some flat lands that come off of the bank of my home, so that my wife and family have a bit of a yard space. But it's in no intention to clear from end to end of our lot.
Okay, well, from this commission's perspective, it's all about the wetlands, so.
Understood. Understood.
So,
Just wanted that to be on the record.
I don't wanna tell any of you applicants what to do, but in all likelihood, on the applications that you're gonna submit, we're gonna have to define where the wetlands are down there,
Of course.
which will mean we'll have to have a soil scientist come in and sample and put the flags out.
Yep.
So, we can take that into consideration, cause this process can take a while, so if you want to sort of be proactive, that would be my first suggestion to the three people involved in this.
And I'm sorry. I guess I'm not understanding what can we do to be proactive exactly.
You can consider having a soil scientist come in to
Oh,
determine.
we can have that done
yes,
first. I'm sorry, I didn't understand
To
that.
determine the extent of the wetland soils in there.
And
Okay.
they would then mark the edge of the wetland with stakes or flags or something, so that when we come out and look at it, we can see where the wetlands actually go and what was done, and what you would be proposing in your
I see.
to-be submitted proposal.
Okay. Very good. All right. So I'll see to that. Anyway, that's my
Okay.
statement. All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to.
Before you close, there's a gentleman, a neighbor gentleman who brought some photos from his lot and what he's observed that,
Would you like to make a statement or something, sir?
I've been a resident of Southbury since
I'm
the
sorry,
Sunday. My name is Thomas Wityak. I live at 261 Bagley Road. I've been there 35 years. This has been the most egregious incident that I could think of since I've been in Southbury. The wetlands have been clear cut, not danced around. The machines went down into the wetlands across the stream and cut everything down that they could. They cut down wood on my property, and it wasn't done by accident. It was not done by accident. You don't come down off of that hill and see wetlands and just, you're supposed to back away, all right? If you got questions, you ask questions. Now, my opinion, there was money exchanged for this wood. This was originally supposed to be a few trees were gonna be trimmed because of the storms. And then when 3 homeowners got signed on to this thing, then he said, well, I got a blank check basically to do whatever I want. You got a problem with me, go see the homeowner. So, as I was saying, I've never seen anything like this in Salisbury in 35 years, and my land goes back to that brook. Now there's a giant tree there, it's about 75 feet tall to 100 foot tall. It's marked for cutting on my side of the brook. And if I didn't come home from vacation and call in to tie here, that tree would be gone.
Let me interrupt 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
At the back of your property there, do you have any sort of survey markers or anything out there?
There's markers back there. When I bought the lot in '85, they were there. I haven't been back there in years.
Okay.
But I know when I built my barn in 2000, in 1998 and 2000, we had a soil scientist come out and map the wetlands and map the boundaries. I don't know where
What,
that
and
is.
what was that for? What was that application for?
It was for building a barn.
Building a barn. All right. Make a note of that, please, staff.
And what year was that, sir?
That was approximately 1998 to 2000. The barn took me about 16 months to build myself.
Okay.
Do you recall the name of the person who did the evaluation, did the wetland working?
No, it was an out-of-town company.
Do you think you could dig it up, maybe? Might be helpful.
Yeah, I could possibly, but see, we've had a fire since then, so.
That makes it harder.
You know, and I think it makes it harder. But, you know, I don't know, this whole area around the houses up there is a wildlife sanctuary. I've been looking at bears and foxes and all kinds of animals for 35 years, and it's just disgraceful that what was done, and it was done for money. It was done for greed. There was nothing to do with cutting trees because it's going to hit my house or anything like that. Maybe a couple, but this is clear cutting an entire hillside and then getting greedier and going down into the wetlands, clear cutting it and going into the heavy wetlands behind my house and crossing the brook with heavy machinery. There's trees on both sides of that brook that are cut.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming forward.
Okay, thank you. And you can have, I took pictures and marked them all, of the wetlands, which is, around the street.
We'll look at what you submitted, and we are all headed out there, so we're
Thank you,
gonna
sir.
have a look ourselves.
Thank you.
All right, motion to continue, did we do that already? Did we already
No, not
continue
for this.
that, the last one? All right, motion to continue then 209 Bagley Road. Discussion, second, okay.
If I may, real quick, and just talking with the gentleman, I just wanted to make you all aware, Mike Swift is actually going to be taking over any cleanup on the 209 Bentley Road property, once we are given permission to after this is all
Okay.
done. All I am considering is there any way, up around the home, we would be able to be given permission to at least chip up, the debris that we have up top?
Nope, not yet.
Not until we know the boundaries.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, thank you. All right, this next application actually is mine, so I'll step down from this. and
Tonight.
Go sit out there with them, I guess. And, Donna?
You will be asked to comment.
Oh, that's fine. I'll be happy to do that.
You're in charge.
I'll sit over here at this other
Would you
table.
like the chairman's seat?
Chairman,
Do I need to?
are we done with this part?
Yeah, all done for tonight.
Thank you all.
Nothing on TV tonight.
That's what we should do, put in cameras.
Okay, next up is application 1673. The applicant is Carl, and it's to remove an in-ground fuel tank and heating oil tank, which is down near the gas dock pier. And they also want to improve a footpath with railroad ties and packed gravel. There was a site visit that Thad, I think you were there, and
I was.
you were there also. Do you want to summarize what you saw?
Actually, Thad did the report, he might be.
Okay.
more adept than I.
So the application was suggesting that what they would like to do is to move the fuel tank down to the pier where it's a solid cement pier, and then the pipe in between the fuel tank and the existing tank would be cleaned and cut off, and just they would leave it buried. And then the home heating oil tank would be moved into the garage there at the so that would be minimum digging or anything. They would dig the tank out of the ground and fill it in, and then put it in a tank in the garage. From what we saw there, it looks like it made a lot of sense actually, and would actually improve the property as opposed to causing any additional stress on the property. Having the fuel in safe, secure locations seemed like a good idea to me. And then we went around the back of the property and looked at these guys that come down to use the marina, come down on a footpath that's pretty treacherous right now. So the applicant was looking to improve that with some railroad ties and some fill up to the road. Not real clear exactly how that was going to work, but there again, it seemed like a fairly good idea if they could if he can make it work. It's a relatively small space, and it's fairly steep terrain, so right now people are kind of like climbing and stumbling up and down that hill because it's the shortest line to from where they park their cars. It's the shortest distance to get out to their boat.
If I might add, the tank has to come out anyway by state regulation. It's too old to stay in ground, so it must come out one way or another. As Thad said, the relocation seems to make a lot more sense than where it is now. It'll reduce the distance of flow, and as I said, it has to come out anyway. It's a commercial enterprise, it's a marina, fuel's needed, some for heating and some to run the vessels that are tied up. I would also add that the footpath that's there now it's dangerous, frankly. I wouldn't want to walk down it, but it's also the easiest way for people to get to their boats. So I think what's being proposed by the applicant is a fairly modest upgrade, mostly in interest of keeping people safe. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So that's about it. Overall, it looks like an improvement to what's there now, and does not appear to pose any issue at all for the lake. And I believe, Carl, you've been dealing with the state on all this anyway, right?
I've talked to everybody sooner or later. I did get an email from Mark Godey in the building department a week or so ago where he said that his only real concerns were that it be fastened to the cement pier, and that the
And you're talking about the fuel tank.
I'm talking about the fuel tank. He wants it, fastened to the cement pier. Well, he wanted, a double tank, which all of those are. So it's a double tank fastened to the cement pier, and then he wants the filler to be at the 108 elevation, which would put it about 6 feet off of the cement, something like that.
I don't even understand that.
The filler for the gas tank,
The top of
fill,
the tank.
the fill for the gas,
The top
So
of
you have
the
to be
tank.
tall.
not the top of the tank, where you put the gas
Oh,
into
yeah,
the
okay.
tank, the filler
Yeah.
thing. He wants it at a 108 elevation, which is approximately 6 feet off the cement
Okay.
pier.
So
So
whoever-
that's doable.
Yeah.
And that was his only
Now, is the
stipulation.
concrete pier existing,
Yes.
and it's gonna get bolted to this.
Yep.
How thick is it?
Oh, it's,
6
I
feet.
don't know, 8 feet thick.
It's
You're good
huge.
to go.
It's gigantic. Seriously, you can land
I don't know, I haven't,
airplanes on it.
I haven't,
So boat,
It's
boats
been
can't run
there
into it?
70 years or so, I think.
I just
It's
asked.
a
Yeah,
solid
no, that's
concrete
fine.
block about, what, about the size of two of these tables put together, maybe a little more?
Oh,
And about
it's
30 feet long?
10 feet wide and
Yeah.
30 feet long or something.
It's
So,
Ain't going
huge.
anywhere.
if it's a double walled tank, does it have leak
It
detection?
says it right here.
Does
I'm
it have leak detection? The
It
tank?
has a 2-inch monitor pipe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't really hear the
I
question.
was wondering if it had leak detection. If it's a double walled tank, does it have
If
leak
it doesn't, I can certainly put on the leak detection that I have on the other tank when we abandon that one. So it could be put onto this, but they don't typically do these above ground ones, I don't think, but,
Yeah.
we could do that.
So
I'll
I read,
have the equipment to do it, so we certainly could.
the tank that's coming out, I read there's gonna be some soil testing. So there's
Yeah,
the
that's
excavator-
part of it. It's either gonna come out or they'll abandon it in
Abandon.
place. I'm not sure which one exactly yet. Either way, they do soil testing.
Right.
If they abandon it in place, they go down and they drill through the bottom of the tank and they take a core samples out that way.
Okay.
So, but
It's a bit
any
less
of the
disruptive.
licensed people that do that, that's part of the
Okay.
process.
Okay. So they know where to stage the soil until they get the results and to cover it.
There won't
so
be
there's
any
no-
if it's abandoned in place. You won't have to excavate it.
Yeah, they won't
Oh,
excavate it unless they determine there's
okay.
some contamination or something. They're just gonna
So you're not
basically,
pulling it, you're just
They'll
abandoning it.
probably
in place.
fill up
Okay.
with something.
Okay. All right.
yeah.
And
There actually is
the
a
pipe
flat
is,
if you have
pipe
to
is gonna be sealed on
excavate
both
it.
ends
It's
after
a
it's
flat
cleaned.
area, you can stage the soil
The
on.
pipe that's in there, yeah, they'll flush that out. And
Transfer around.
Right.
I don't know if they'll cap it or what they'll do exactly, but
They'll fill it with sand.
the pipe,
Oh, the
tank,
the
no,
pipe
the-
will probably just be capped,
I think they'll just flush
Cement
it and
cap,
cap it
actually.
probably.
Yep. not the pipe. Sometimes they'll flush it. They have to. Just blow it all into the pond, it's no problem.
I'm sorry.
No, never mind, Carl.
Between the masks and my
Nothing
poor
about
hearing,
any
I'm struggling
intelligence
here
at
a
all.
little.
Okay. So, does anyone have any further comments, questions, or concerns?
I just have one, question. Do you have any kind of a scale, drawing of how you're gonna put the stairs in, going up to the street there?
No,
So
I
you have-
could provide something if you want. I just was,
That's all on your property?
yes.
Well, it goes up
It
to the
wasn't
top
gonna be
floor.
anything complicated. I have this little machine with a 5-foot wide blade and you know, the digger and the 5-foot wide blade. And I was just essentially gonna go up and down and sort of smooth out the irregularities a little bit. And then put down 8x8 posts and some kind of compactable, either stone dust or something similar to that. Just to give them a uniform surface to kind of walk up and down there, so it's not all boulders and sand and,
Right, the way it's set up right now is people are, well frankly, they're going where they shouldn't go. They're climbing down the embankment because it's
Yeah.
shorter than walking around the building, right? Isn't that
Yes,
essentially it?
exactly.
Yeah, and
And-
it's just crazy. They shouldn't be there at all, but
Right.
But they're parking down the street.
if the parking is.
I
quarter
tried
of a
blocking
mile
it
away-
off and they just go around it, they go underneath the caution tape, you know, so it's,
So there's gonna be some kind of erosion,
there's a little bit,
no, when you're
I
finished.
get a little bit of water there that comes off the road and there's like one parking space at the top. But it's minimal in my view.
The real problem is, there's nothing you can do about it. No matter what you're gonna do, people are gonna walk around the fence, they're gonna walk around the gate, because you can't
Two big
block the whole
dogs.
thing out, and he's simply, and I'm not, espousing this in particular, but trying to make it so somebody doesn't come down there, fall down and break a leg.
Well, liability on your part too.
I don't want
The better
anybody to get
thing
hurt.
would be
I
to
don't
direct
want
them
anybody to get
around the
hurt.
building, but physically, that's almost impossible.
So it sounds like we need this. This is a good thing.
it's one of those things where it's not perfect, but you kind of do what you can do.
Well, it's a pretty minimal activity. I don't think you really have to worry about any kind of,
Yeah.
impacts on the resources or anything. It's just,
And it's not a
It's just-
spillway for the road or anything. There's
No.
not
No.
water,
no.
no.
And
so
there's no
it's-
It
sensitive
just
wetland below.
falls
There's
within your
pier.
buffer
Right, right.
zone. That's kind of why I'm here.
Yep. All right.
All right, so, unless anybody wants to make more comments, I think that, we have the resolution here. I think you've been pretty thorough with what you've provided, and how you're gonna go forward. So I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution for application 1673.
I'll second that.
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Okay.
I
Thank
mean, other
you.
than the fact that it's Carl.
Keep going. You're doing a wonderful job.
I knew he was gonna do that. Get yourself elected here, be careful.
No, no, no. Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were kidding too.
All right, don't get used to this. So now we're moving on to new business. We have application 1674, 1550 Kettletown Road. And we have the application right here. I guess we have to schedule a site visit. There's next week, well, today's Tuesday.
We'll
Anyone?
do it whenever. Let Ty take care of that.
What was that?
Ty will take care of schedule.
Okay, Kai, you'll take care of that?
What do I do?
Skip, or
You
Kai?
won't do anything.
Oh,
Bonnie
Kai,
will.
yeah.
thank you. That I do well.
That you do, okay.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, 1674. Well, now we just have other business. Did you, are you from? You're from 1550 Kettletown Road. So we don't want to just push. So usually what we do, we have your application right here. And I know I reviewed it, but we usually like to have a site visit. So what we'll do, Kai will get in touch with you to see when a good time is for you to meet with some of the commission members.
Application for,
Within the next week to a week and a
is it
half.
for a house?
So,
What is it?
and then hopefully you'll be there.
Let's ask him.
And, it'll give us a chance to see the site, to ask questions, and then we'll write up a site report, site visit report, and then next month, we'll discuss it as a commission, and we'll make our decision then.
Could I ask what's the application for? I haven't read it.
Just a building permit with wetlands on the property.
It's a single-family home,
A two-family home?
single-family.
Single family, okay.
Yeah, actually, I read through it.
Well, we don't have any of that. We don't have any of the home plan or anything.
Yeah.
Do we have
Am I
plans?
missing it? We don't have any plans.
1550,
All I have is this.
that's all I have.
Yeah.
Have you marked out where you're gonna put the house?
You have the site plan all done?
Yeah, there's one in the office, it's probably
Oh,
just
okay.
like
Okay, we
attached.
just don't have it.
All right, it's
Okay.
just not in this package. Okay,
It's a bigger plan.
okay. No, it's all right. We don't need it now. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure it was complete or whatever. Sorry, Donna. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. So, so are you good? We'll get in touch with you, Kai will get in touch with you?
Okay,
Okay?
sounds great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, can I ask one question?
Sure.
So I see in here that they're hiring a soil scientist to come, and he's gonna flag theoretically the wetland areas and the setback areas. When is that gonna get done? Is that gonna get done before we go out there to do the site visit?
It's already been done, right?
Been done.
Yeah.
Been done? And it's flagged?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
okay,
it's been-
great, thank you.
That's what this is, the map of, so.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
have a good night. Okay, so now, in other business, we have the Hill House Road Sewer Relocation Project.
Where's Hill House Road?
I don't know, actually, is that,
That's the one up Old Waterbury, isn't it? Oh, no, sewer, oh, that's up in the village. Hill House is up in the village somewhere,
Hill House, I can,
right?
yeah, I can
Okay.
make a few comments on this if you'd like.
Yes.
Please.
Why is it in here anyway, Ty?
It's more of an FYI than anything else. I think it was circulated last month when you guys didn't have a meeting just for your comments if you had any concerns, but
Is this the
It's-
pipe that's being
yeah,
relocated?
it's a positive change.
So is this a project that falls within our jurisdiction or no?
I guess if you had concerns, you could voice them.
But they're
But
permitted from the state
It's
and
not a
everything.
permit, it's not a permit in front of you to approve or deny now. It's a
Perusal.
something that you should be aware of, and if you had concerns, you could voice them.
Okay.
And it's very close to the water. The water is right as currently, that pipe that goes across from Hill House over to, whatever the Heritage Road is, that pipe is only 8 feet from the water that's being held up by that dam there. So taking that pipe out and rerouting it down the road and under the road is gonna actually be beneficial.
Okay, good. Yeah, they're putting it under the road
We're
instead
gonna
of
put it
above.
underneath, right underneath the road, and it's not gonna be anywhere near the water now.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Election of officers. What are the positions?
Well, Ty, why don't you tell them?
So Bonnie noticed that you had not, elected officers this year, must have been just a oversight.
Pandemic.
And I think she had it on the agenda a couple months ago, and now a couple months have gone by, you didn't meet last month, and it seems like you're gonna be doing it again in November anyways, so I'm not sure if you want to engage in this process now. You're supposed to do it every year, but you will be doing it again in November, so.
So what's the point?
It's your decision how you wanna go
She
forward
wants
with
to know
this.
if you wanna do one now and one in November, or just wait for November.
Just wait for November.
Yeah, let's wait for November. It's election
At
month.
this point.
I
don't
move that
know
we
if it
wait for
matters.
November.
Are you okay with that, Bonnie?
Second.
Okay.
I'll
Thank
second,
you.
All in
I'll
favor?
second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay.
Done.
No, actually, it was
I
Bill.
moved
Bill,
to defer it till November,
Thank you.
and Mr. Betty seconded.
All right, so moving on to bills and receipts. Any bills and receipts?
your
Oh,
turn.
yep. I got it. Do you want them all listed individually, just one?
No, just
Yeah, in
numbers.
the aggregate.
Okay, so the monthly total was for application and fees, $685. Well, that's since, July, the end of July till yesterday. And the wetland markers were $34 for a total of $719. And there was, for bills, there was a purchase of 100 wetland markers for $294.10.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good for a net profit of.
Can I ask you a question? If these cease and desist orders, they have fines associated with them, does that go to inland wetlands?
No.
No, unfortunately.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, we can't line around pockets. The Board of Selectmen gets.
Oh, yeah, cause we be finding everybody.
Absolutely. That's
That's
the kind of
true.
people we are, what can I say?
That's right.
Okay.
And correspondence? No correspondence? Quiet.
No, nothing from Mr. Pielmeyer?
No.
Now that is shocking.
I hope he's okay.
Hope he's okay. You're funny.
The minutes, did we get the minutes from July 31st or 13th? Okay, so next month you can circulate and
Yeah.
take a look at them. All right. Any other business?
I have another business.
Okay.
I was talking with Ty a couple weeks ago and said something's going on and we should, make people pay fines, and she said we don't have any way to do that. So I dug down into our regulations, and in fact we don't. We have no enforcement mechanism. The town has no enforcement mechanism, actually. we do. But the town has none for lights, I think for lights, and certainly for signs. It's really outside our bailiwick, but I wanted to float by all of you whether you think it'd be worth trying to amend the regulations to put in a general provision that a violation of the regulations would allow the town, might be zoning, might be us, to impose a fine of, I don't know what ours is, $250 a day for violations. What do you guys, including you?
I'd like to see what other towns are doing. Has there been a precedent for this?
Oh, yeah,
There
it's
is.
all over the place.
We don't have any
It's
mechanism?
up,
We have no
it's up to
mechanism.
each town in the ordinances
Right.
to make the rules of how they wanna govern their town. But it has to be in the ordinance.
Yes, it would
So you
require
have
an amendment to the
You have
ordinance.
to make an ordinance for us to be able to do what we wanna do.
Is it like pollution we're talking about?
No, it doesn't really affect us. We have our own enforcement mechanism underneath the wetlands laws. I think it's $250 a day.
Yeah, you've got quite a few, you've got a whole list.
Yeah, we climbed on this
You
a
have
few
a whole
years
I'm
ago.
list.
confused.
But the town.
Because
I'm
that
just
sounds
trying to
like
get
an
people to
enforcement,
steal
that
it.
sounds like an enforcement mechanism.
For us it is, but you can't use it for like
No,
signs
he's
and
talking
other
about
things.
a
I'm just trying to
zoning
get a
matter.
general feeling for what you all think about it.
Something, so this is not a wetlands issue? Oh, okay, I'm confused, that's why I was
Oh.
confused.
No, it's not a wetlands issue.
Okay, so
I'm just trying
no,
to get you
so for
sure I-
other
I have-
infractions, zoning or whatever, there's no penalties on
Nope.
the books.
Not that I can find.
So
Anyway,
are you suggesting this because
I just
if
want to
we
get
go out-
somebody's
if we
feeling.
go out and do a site
I
visit
would
or
like to see
something,
it
we
in
see
writing and
something
how that
that violates.
Well, there is that, but mostly she has to go around and try and get these things, and this kind of came up. I was thinking about going to zoning and proposing to them that they put something in place, and I just thought I'd kind of get a feeling from another commission on what you guys think.
I would have to go and ask them how they manage those situations without that in place. Maybe they have some
Who's
sort
gonna
of
govern that?
a procedure that's been working well for them that we're not really aware about.
We had this discussion before. The procedure is that the Board of Selectmen has to authorize someone to sue for it, which they will not do.
Oh, yeah, so there, because I know, I've read about signs that were not to code.
Yeah, but unless they voluntarily take them down, and until you take them to court, there's nothing we can do about it. They can do it. Anyway, okay, so, not really our bailiwick.
I don't have enough information on that
I
to
was
really
gonna say,
offer
right
much of an
The whole
opinion.
idea behind it, the
I may do
results,
that. I have to think about it.
yeah.
So is there
Kinda
anything
hard to
else?
wrap
I have
your arms
something.
around.
Okay, Ty?
So I just wanted to report about 1056 Georges Hill Road, the previous enforcement matter that we had with the carport and the pool
Oh,
and
right.
Oh, yeah.
he never came in for his bond. He actually sent me a letter. So after the last meeting, I had, just summarized what he needed to do to go forward, just to kind of be clear, because it seemed like there had been some confusion previously of the steps going forward, and he had responded in the middle of the night. So I don't know what state he was in, but saying that, how angry he was and that he was not gonna do any of the work and, maybe contacting an attorney, I don't know. I have the email, and I responded back to him. I'd be happy to speak with his attorney about how, important it would be to get the restoration done, and it was fine that he didn't do the pool or the carport. That's not our, priority, if he decided not to go forward with that. So I've been keeping an eye on the site, making sure that nothing happens. I did drive by again today and in anticipation of seeing you guys tonight. And he's got several cars parked on the slab that had been laid by but no structure there yet. He hasn't done anything to restore the site, and we're getting out of growing season now.
How
so
about the trees that you wanna cut down over the
he
weekend?
hasn't cut anything.
He hasn't done
I didn't go onto his property. I drove into his driveway and observed.
Yeah.
And like the pile of dirt is still there. Pretty much everything seems, the silt fence is still there, all of that. And he was not supposed to start work until he took that bond out. So he hasn't come in for the bond. I just wanted to report the status to you.
That was like planting bond?
Yeah, that's what it was, yep, to make sure that everything would be stabilized, and he has not
Done anything.
done anything.
So the big pile of dirt's still there,
It appears to be
about
still
50
there.
feet from the pond, as I recall.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't walk onto his property, but I drove into the first part of the driveway and just kinda observed.
With that 7 inches of rain, did you see any?
No, you know, that was a big concern of mine, and the silt fence is still in place, and it seems to be holding up quite well, so,
Okay.
you know, but I just wanted you to be aware
I'd say
and,
just continue to monitor it, and
okay,
if you feel we need to do something different, we'll do it, I guess.
okay. And,
If the material isn't finding its way into the pond and so forth, then
Well, he does have a silt fence up, or he did.
it's less of a
it's
concern,
still there,
at least for me.
it's still there.
anyway.
Because you wanna kick the sleeping dog.
Yeah. One more thing. So I just wanted to also report, I had contacted, after the big storm, I contacted Carl because we were getting a lot of calls about emergency repairs. So there's a couple things that are in the work. One of them, Charlie Spath is working on. Most of it is, you know, some culverts have collapsed and need to be replaced. You know, another storm may wash out the driveway completely. So Carl said, because there was nothing in the regulations specifically speaking to emergency situations, so Carl advised it would be okay to go forward with any repairs, and then follow up with applications to the commission. So I've told like any engineers or anybody working on those kind of things to, you know, deliver the plans, and I would make sure that, you know, all the, you know, proper erosion control was in place, but just to let you know that there may be work going forward without you having seen quite yet.
Well, our
So
historic
just-
position has been, fix it so it doesn't get worse, but don't try to
Finish it.
No, don't.
Yeah,
make
so,
a big fancy production out of
Don't
it.
so just to be
change it.
clear, these are like pipes that go underneath of a driveway,
Right.
and they've lost access to the house because
Yeah, you
of-
gotta fix that.
Right,
Right.
you gotta fix that, and
Right.
as long as it's, they're fixing it reasonably close to what existed, I didn't think it would be an issue, you know,
No,
I
but-
think we have to let them
Yeah,
do
no,
that,
of
we
course,
can't,
Of course,
you know, we can't put them.
as long as they're not trying to put in a 4-lane highway.
Well, there you go, so,
Yep, I just wanted you to know, and then we will follow up with applications and make sure everything's documented.
Thank you.
Anything else, Ty?
I think that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
well, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
aye.
All against?
Alright, just under an hour, well done. Thank you, everybody.
We'll see what happens with our clear cut of the wetland. That'll
Yeah, are we on here?
I
we are.
drove up there.
They
Cause I was kinda doing it. I took the trees down.
Yeah.
The guy, I guess he's selling.